home, so I'm not using it either. What makes a great friend? Let me tell you something. They're a lot to deal with. They're a lot. And when you first meet them, and I know a ton of you are going to shake your head when I say this. You're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. When you first meet them, you're like, this is a freaking lot to handle. And first off, if I don't make you laugh at least 10 times, Biffle will be pissed at you. So that's one. Be pissed at me, I should say. But he's a lot to handle. There's people in this crowd right now that I introduced him over the years. I got friends from the Navy that were here. They were like, yeah, he's a lot. It's like many of you said. But the next day you wake up and you're like, I like that guy. I like having him on the team. Like I said, a good friend is somebody that's very hard to say no to. You need people like that in your life every now and then, because it's a lot of fun. And life is extremely short, and sometimes the best get taken a little early. And he is one of the absolute best. I want to tell you, we had a lot of time to talk over the past few months. When we kind of, you kind of know this is happening, and it's coming. And we reminisced about some things. And I remember telling him, when you raise children, as 90% of us have in this room, those younger years, it's kind of easy because they're just fun. The worst of that's like changing a diaper. It's fun. Well, they turn into teenagers and it gets very challenging. And you kind of have to restructure the way you do things, and you have to go to work. And let me tell you something. I spent a lot of time with that man, and I'd listen to conversations, and I would sit there and I would listen to him talk to these two, and just build and build and build into them and pour into them and listen to them when they were going through the roller coaster ride of being teenagers, when you have to restructure that. And I watched him do that, and it made me a better dad. It made me a better dad because I saw the way he poured into these kiddos, man. And he built amazing relationships with them. And there's times when we're parents where we could lose that. We could not handle that the right way. And he handled it like a freaking champion. Biffle was the most honest. I'm going to back up for a second. One of the reasons it made him a lot to handle, and he would, I'm going to say this because I want to be a conduit for my brother Biffle to all of you. It feels hard to handle at first because it's so damn real. And he barges through the BS, and he's honest, and he's transparent, and he tells you just exactly how it is. And then you start realizing that, wait a second, he was such a great friend because he did life that way, and he built crazy strong relationships. And sometimes we feel it's easier just to maybe be a little buyers. We're not as social as like some of us want to be social, and we hold back. There was no better person on planet Earth that knew how to be he was the social chairman of all of our lives. He was our social chairman. I never planned anything. Most of you didn't either. You would just, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second, we're here. Biffle's not here yet, so we can't start. Because he planned it all. He was, my wife said it best. Oh my gosh, I love this statement. I never thought about it this way, but she's so right. He had the absolute greatest qualities of a man and a woman. If you know, you know. Everything was packed perfectly. Everything was in order. We had our timeline. He just knew everything. But he was 100% dude as well. It's never been pulled off in the history of the world. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's the most beautiful part of him. I would be lifting up my game. I got to try to at least pretend I can hang with him. It was beautiful. And I know you guys know know what I'm talking about. There's a couple things, I normally don't do this, I normally just improv, but there's a couple things I just can't forget to say. So, I gotta make you laugh at least one more time. So, he was the most amazing project manager on the planet Earth. Like, work friends are in here. The guy could just, he carried a fire extinguisher everywhere he went. But you know what could be hitting the fan? And you freaking wanted him in there. One time we were traveling and he had a big work meeting, and I was with him. We were going to go have a lot of fun after this meeting. He's like, yeah, just come in and pretend you're on the team. So we're sitting there, and this is one of those like $30 million deals, $50 million deals that he was always working on, flying all over the country and sometimes the world. And I walked in and there was like corporate, there were C-levels everywhere, 2 or 3 different companies. There's a lot of you know what going on. And there's tons of friction, you could feel it. And I watched him navigate that like the most, just the fire extinguishers here. He was just spraying people, just putting out fires. And at the end of that about 45-minute meeting, he had resolved everything. Just like his dad would have, in the most beautiful way. He was a magician in those moments. And that lingered into all of our lives with him. He was just so wonderful in the moments. You wanted him there. You always wanted him there. And he wanted me to remind all of you that he would be so happy to see all of you here, but he really wants to see you May 23rd at Heritage Park, and we can really celebrate Biffle style. Listen, some other very specific things we talked about, and I promised him I would say these things. We live in a time when every day people take their lives. He wanted more life so passionately bad. And what he and I determined the reason was for that when we talked was because how he loved being with people. And when you're around people that are just good, wholesome people, we cherish life. And we can't wait for the next day. We don't want this bad day to be over, but the next day you wake up, your feet hit the floor, and you're like, it's going to be a great day to dominate today. I'm going to pack so much into this day. And that's all he thought about was today. He maximized life today. So I want you to realize, as people are taking their lives, he told me I would give anything to have more life so I could continue doing what we do. Just loving people and being with people and enjoying those moments together. Biffle, you were a lot, and we loved you so much for exactly who you were and how you filled our lives with so much joy. Thank God for Biffle. Biffle, you made us all better. You made us all better. And when some leave us, it's just a bigger impact on a lot of people. And that's because he lived life with everything he had. Thank you so much for being here. Please come May 23rd. We love y'all. We love y'all.